This December on Best of the Rest, we are covering the movies that you demand. To make your voice heard, head to the show notes, click the link, and tell us what movies we are covering this December. That's right, December is Listener Demands Month on Best of the Rest. Again, head to the show notes right now and tell us what movies we are watching. We haven't done this very often, but I think this is going to be one of those times where we just got to let people know this is going to be an unbleeped episode, uncensored. There's just, I think, too much to talk about, too many lines to quote, too many things that we're going to end up saying that we would just have an episode full of car honks and beeps. I think we should just let it flow this time. What do you think?
I'm fine with that.
All right, you want to
Sorry
test
to
out?
all the viewers that we've let down.
You always call them viewers, Andrew. No one can see us.
They're watching us with their ears.
That makes perfect sense. Do you want to test out the censors? Make sure it's turned off. Throw something out there. See if it gets beeped.
Fuck.
Honestly, my joke was gonna be I was gonna beep whatever you said, but I have to leave that in. That was too good. I have to leave that in. So there you go. Okay. Yep, it's worked. Uncensored. Here we go. Theme song.
We're not talking about the best of them. We're just talking about the rest of them.
Not the worst parts, but the best parts. And the best parts we have. The best of the rest.
Hello and welcome to Best of the Rest. My name is Chris Logan, and I am joined, as always, by my hetero life mate and co-host, Andrew Williams. Say something to the listeners, Andrew.
Hello. Or sorry. No, never mind. I had a joke I was going to do, but it's not relevant. It's gone.
Well, now everyone wants to know what you were going to do, Andrew. You can't just say that.
I was going to say, breaking news. If you want beef, then bring the ruckus. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. More news at 11.
Okay, are you doing that just because we can cuss this episode?
Sure.
What are you even referencing? What is this?
It's a song by Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, okay. And honestly, I assumed it was a movie reference because it's you.
It's literally from the song Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
Well, today I learned, Andrew. I did have you down. I did have it down as I'm joined as always by my hetero co-host Andrew Williams, but it sounded so weird just to for no reason mention that you're it kind of breaks the joke of how Jay and Silent Bob use it. So I had to throw the whole thing in there to make it not weird, and then point out that it's weird. Look, each week we take a second look at a movie that was poorly received upon release and challenge ourselves to only talk about the things we like and what the movie does well. It's Stoner Month, and this week we are talking the 2001 film Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. You know what's crazy, Andrew? Honestly, downstairs in my living room right now, swear to God, on my turntable, it's a Wu-Tang Clan vinyl. I think it has that song on it.
Is it their first album?
Let me look at the. Honestly, okay. So most of my vinyls.
Wu-Tang 36 Chambers.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I guess I haven't spun it enough times to know it front to back. I haven't listened to it.
It's a great album.
I haven't listened to a ton, but I listened to the first side of that when I was cooking the other day. A lot of my vinyl, a not insignificant number of my vinyls are from Target, specifically Target clearance, because they always have vinyls on clearance. And so I will, if it's below $10, I'm buying just about anything I'm slightly interested in. That Wu-Tang I got for $6.98. I was like, yeah, I'll try that out. Haven't listened to too much Wu-Tang Clan, so I was trying to educate myself, and obviously I'm not quite there yet, so I got to keep on listening. Anyway, Andrew, what I want to ask you right now is, what is your history with the movie we are discussing today, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back? Have you seen it before this week? I mean, I know you have. Kevin Smith has come up a number of times on our podcast, even though this is our first time actually covering Kevin Smith, right? We haven't covered any of his movies.
I think so.
Oddly. So, if we're gonna cover one of them, this is like the one, right? It's a cross section of like
all
Kevin
of them,
Smith Act 1. So we get to dive into a lot of stuff.
Everything from those first bunch of movies is present here in some capacity.
Now,
pretty much like.
What I'm interested in is, did you see this in theaters? And did you see, let's just call Clerks through Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back as whatever, chapter 1.
Phase 1.
Did you see phase 1? Yes. Did you see these 5 movies in order?
No, I did not. I did not. So I did not see this in theaters. I would have been 14 when this came out, so I wasn't quite the age where I think I really even had awareness, let alone parents that would take me to see such a thing. So my gateway into Kevin Smith was actually Dogma, and it was because my dad, my aunts came and was like, "Yeah, you guys should watch Dogma." And so we went. I remember we went to a Blockbuster, and I remember we rented Galaxy Quest and Dogma.
Hell of a double feature. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. And so Dogma was the
and
one
then
that kind
Andrew
of
was
jumped out
formed.
first.
I mean, those are like
basically. From there, it was Mallrats. Mallrats was the next one that I remember seeing. I think I saw part of it like on TV. And then after like Dogma and Mallrats, that's when I like looked and was like, oh, he's got these other movies. And I remember watching Clerks and Chasing Amy. And I remember my dad like really liked Dogma and Mallrats, but like he did not care for Clerks and Chasing Amy really at all, because I think those ones are just much more. There are a lot more movies where people just sit around and talk, and he just was a lot less interested in that. So I saw all of those, and then I guess like I just like my mom actually kind of hated these movies when I was growing up. She was like, "That's garbage. We don't have that in this house." And then my dad took me somewhere and let me buy Mallrats. So my parents were not aligned on Kevin Smith at all, and now they don't care. My parents were so weird. Like when I was growing up, they were like, don't watch these things, we don't watch that show here, don't curse, don't do this. And like, it's like the minute I went to college, they just stopped giving a shit. And they were like, yeah, whatever. So like my dad only really gets upset if we swear like in front of the group family, like at a dinner or something. But otherwise, yeah, nobody cares, and I can watch whatever I want now. Yeah, as a 38-year-old man,
so.
I can watch whatever I want. But
does he know you have this podcast? Is he allowed this, Andrew? Is this approved?
My dad listens.
Should you text him to
sometimes.
see if we can do an unedited episode, though? That's the real question.
No, it's my mom I would need to text, not my dad. But anyway, so got to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, though. Remembered renting it, possibly buying it. Had it on DVD at one point for sure. And I loved these movies. I watched them all the time. I had them on tape. I eventually had them on DVD. I remember that there was a box set you could buy that was just the box for the first 3 movies, because the first 3 movies were considered the Jersey trilogy, which was like 3 movies of like, if you pay attention, the stories and the things about the characters all weave through the first 3 movies. So the events are all separate, but they reference each other. And so they made a box set that you could fit all your DVDs in, because they were all made by different studios, so you couldn't buy them as a set. I had Dogma on DVD, which just, Dogma is just now getting its 4K kind of heyday. There's a really fancy edition coming from Umbrella that unfortunately they're not shipping to the US anymore, but Lionsgate is doing a limited edition steelbook of it.
Is that up yet, by the way?
It's not. You can pre-order it, but it hasn't come out yet.
I need to get on that.
But Lionsgate Limited, you have to get it through Lionsgate Limited, unfortunately.
Like
there will be a
that
standard
website?
release. Like Lionsgate Limited, yeah, you have to get it through them. There will be a standard release coming like through Amazon and all your other retailers. But if you want a steelbook, it's same with like Jackie Brown. Like there's an exclusive Jackie Brown steelbook that I keep thinking about because, as you know, my Tarantino hot take is Jackie Brown is his best movie. But it's so Dogma's kind of now getting its heyday. And for a while there, like Dogma DVDs like went for way more money than they should have because they were out of print. Miramax kind of sat on that for years. But then we get to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And when you're that age, so I was like, 15, 16 when I really got into Kevin Smith. And I did see Clerks 2 in theaters. Like when Clerks 2 came out, I like watched all those movies with my friends. We went and watched them and it was a whole thing. But, Kevin Smith was like, for me, like there was this like trio of filmmakers or even quartet, you could say, that were all out there kind of like just making movies with whatever resources they had. And it was Kevin Smith, Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, and Richard Linklater for the most part. Like shoestring budgets, Richard Linklater's first movie, Slacker, is basically just a kid bombing around town, largely sitting on a bus all day. Reservoir Dogs, which is, it feels weird putting it in the same category, but it's still largely a movie that takes place in one location. Robert Rodriguez with El Mariachi, and then Kevin Smith obviously with stuff like Clerks. Clerks is like, you could and I've mentioned it on the podcast before, you could make Clerks today for like $500, like if that, and it would look better. Like if I shot Clerks today on my phone, it would look better than the actual. Like if Clerks ever gets a 4K upgrade, it's the biggest waste of time in the world. It's like
because you have to keep the grain. You have to keep all the crappy.
You have to. That's the whole point. It's a black and white movie shot on not even 35 millimeter, probably 16 millimeter, maybe 35. I don't remember. But if you clean that up too much, Clerks is very much in that Halloween vein of just if you clean this up too much, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose the charm in a way. Yeah. You're just going to see how amateur it really is if you clean it up too much. But that was the dream. When I went to college and I finally switched to broadcast, I was like, if Kevin Smith could make movies, dude would just use that. I was like, why couldn't I? Me and every other film guy in the mid-aughts all had that idea of we could be filmmakers.
Right.
And look at us now. So for a large part of my teenage years and well into my 20s, I loved Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith was fantastic. I have posters signed by Kevin Smith. I had comics signed by Kevin Smith. I've never actually met Kevin Smith. I have met Jason Mewes, but my aunt got me a signed Dogma poster. I actually have a signed Dogma poster by Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes. Jason Mewes personalized it in the most lovely chicken scratch I've ever seen. And then my aunt got me a signed Kevin Smith poster, and I was just like, to me, that was the coolest thing in the world. I was like, I don't know what, I will never own anything more valuable than this. And so for me, it was a huge deal. And so, this is kind of veered off the point of what's my history with this movie, but I feel like I kind of have to speak to my history with Kevin Smith. And I definitely fell off for a little bit there. And the thing is, even after he stops doing these, I liked Clerks 2 when I saw it in theaters. Jersey Girl, Patrick Willems has a whole video on Kevin Smith. He actually does a deep dive on him that I think is a tremendous kind of movie by movie thing where he kind of points out that a lot of his stuff hasn't aged super well, but that Jersey Girl is actually a much better effort than it gets credit for. Maybe it's not great, but it's way better than it gets credit for.
Sure. Yeah, it kind of got dragged because it's him breaking away, so people that were expecting another View Askew movie are disappointed, and it's right in the middle of the Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez backlash, so just got unfairly pulled into the Geely storm. And
the genuine gag at the end of that, though, where all the other kids are doing Memory from Cats, and then she does Sweeney Todd instead, that's a fantastic gag, genuinely. It's so on brand. I remember one year at my own high school or junior high talent show, so many people were doing the song from Titanic. There were so many groups of girls who were just going up and all singing the Titanic song. And if you had been the one to just do, or Spice Girls or whatever the In Vogue thing was at the time, to be the one that went against the grain. That was a little before then, I think. But anyway, So Clerks 2 I liked a lot. And I actually really like Zack and Miri Make a Porno. I actually genuinely I think that movie's really funny. I genuinely like watching it. I have no issue watching it. It was kind of a bummer that it got panned and kind of disappeared. I think about that movie a lot. I think it's great. I have a Monroeville Zombies hockey jersey just because I think that's a genuinely great reference on a variety of levels. It was about after that I kind of fell out with him. When we start getting into Red State and Tusk and stuff like that, there was a whole bunch of stuff that happened with Red State and with Tusk where he was kind of doing a lot of weird kind of self-hype stuff. And I kind of really fell out of it. And I was like, all right, I don't really know what this guy's getting at. The movies he was making, Tusk really kind of burned me. I really didn't care for it very much. And it was around this time that he started heavily using weed, and I don't know if that's part of it. I don't really know if that kind of changed his attitude. But there was this kind of little bit of a reevaluation that kind of happened later, and I've reached a point where I can kind of I can say that I'm a fan, and I can say that I'm glad he's out there kind of doing his thing, and that it's it's just it's a I've come back around kind of when we get to even the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, and when he starts he obviously has a lot of health scares in there, loses a lot of weight, and he even kind of has openly spoken about how he's kind of acted in some of those times and how it wasn't super great, and kind of taken ownership of a lot of his kind of some of the more out there things he did, and it's safe to say I'm a fan again. But and we'll talk more about him later as well, I'm sure. But just to say that
he'll come up a few times, I'm sure. Yeah. My history not as extensive as yours, but I do think it's similar in that I think Dogma is the first Kevin Smith movie I saw. It was on some movie channel, HBO or something, all the time. I watched it a ton. I loved it. I was like, what is this? It's unlike anything I had seen before. I love that movie. I haven't seen it in a very long time. I'm excited it's getting this proper release again, finally. So I saw Dogma, and then I think this was the next movie I saw. I watched it with some friends and my brother, just as, I didn't know about it being, a 5 movie or 4 movies leading up to this or whatever. So I didn't get most of the references. I kind of just took it at face value. Not really knowing again where the characters are coming from, but I enjoyed it for its silly comedy gags. And then sometime in high school, you start getting into film, Andrew, film proper, and I seek out Clerks.
Excuse you, cinema
tech. I watched Clerks, and I like it a lot. I should probably watch it again. It's been a while, but I always say I respect that movie and I appreciate that movie much more than I watch it and laugh my ass off. I love the thrill of you're talking about, just dude just scraped together some cash and just fucking did it. Just made it happen with his resources and his friends. And it's good. I guess anybody can do something, but and the fact that it's a proper functioning movie, I find very inspiring, so many people do. And then I probably don't see a Kevin Smith movie for a while, but I do eventually go back and see Chasing Amy. I mean, I'm out of high school by the time I finally watched Chasing Amy. Don't really connect with it. I think I watched it at a time where I've kind of maybe grown past some of the points of view that even Kevin Smith probably felt at the time he made it. I don't know. It didn't really work for me. And then I think I've said this on the mic before, but I saw Mallrats a few years ago. Oh, I saw it I think it was 2020, 2021. I think it was a lockdown movie. I finally watched Mallrats. And I was like, oh, would have loved this when I was 12.
I definitely think you with Mallrats is me with Kung Pao Enter the Fist, where
yeah, right.
we were not the right ages when we finally watched those. We had matured too much to the point that when we were outside the box, basically. But I definitely yeah, you're not buying that Arrow 4K of Mallrats, I know. So,
yeah, I'm not. But otherwise, after this, Kevin Smith kind of goes back and forth between his usual shtick or his early shtick and sometimes directs projects that he has been written, and he tried that with like Cop Out. I like Tusk. I'm not gonna get in the middle of some kind of like fight between you and friend of the show.
It's not a fight.
I don't
It's
feel
not a fight.
passionate. I don't feel passionately enough to like think you're crazy for not liking it or someone's crazy for loving it. I enjoyed the movie for what it is. Jersey Girl, I stand up for. So yeah, I mean, I'm a casual fan of Kevin Smith. I mean, if you love Kevin Smith, there's thousands of hours of content that you can watch.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
there's, of course, the movies, the TV shows, and proper stuff, but like the podcasts and videos and talks that he does.
Q&As,
It's
like, yeah, all of that.
you could listen to, and he is a very entertaining, talk. I've not
That
watched
was
all
honestly,
of them.
I think for me, like even just that God, what was it? An Evening with Kevin Smith, that first one that he did in like 2002. Like, I think that was part of the reason that a lot of people kind of gravitated towards him, because we were just like, oh man, like look at all the wild stories he's got. And like Kevin Smith was interesting in that, like, there was this kind of, he was like, we saw ourselves with Kevin Smith, basically. Here's the guy that just grew up as a fan. He was just a fan of movies, a fan of comics, a fan of all of this stuff. And just through basically like sheer willpower and credit card debt, made a movie, put it out into the world, and gained enough traction to turn it into his career. And it's something that I think it's just people really like gravitated to that, because even somebody like Richard Linklater eventually gets this kind of air of I don't know, sophistication about him. Like, even though that feels kind of like a
Sure.
weird way to put it, but like Linklater and Tarantino, especially, like Tarantino obviously gets a lot of Oscar noms and gets a lot of prestige attention for the work that he does. But Kevin Smith always kind of felt like he's just one of us. He's a guy out there just making these movies that are, they're just the right balance of like humor. There's just enough of a message in there to make it a little bit deeper, but not too deep. Like, so it was this perfect combination of things. And I think it really did inspire being a loosely used word here, people to be like, oh, well, I could do this. And that's certainly a thought that I had at one point. It's like, all I got to do is come up with an idea that resonates. And turns out that's the hard part. But
Yeah.
it's definitely interesting that, and like you look like An Evening with Kevin Smith, you can just see all these people. That's exactly what they say. They're like, this dude like is speaking in the language. He's speaking at a level that's almost on par with what they all see. And, nerd snobs everywhere rose up in numbers to rejoice their new leader.
Let's set the stage for when this movie came out, Andrew. It's released August 24th, 2001, making it firmly in the pre-9/11 camp. It's made on a budget of $22 million. I'm going to pause right there. To quote another movie podcast, this is his blank check project, right? I mean, you could argue like something like Mallrats is, because he goes from independent clerks to making a proper movie. But you look at the budgets, they sort of creep up through Chasing Amy, and I think Dogma is maybe like 10 million, I think. I was looking at it earlier. And then Jay and Silent Bob, I mean, there's not even a hook. Like all the other movies, there's a hook to them where they function as like a proper movie. This is just like two characters that only exist in his other four movies, interacting with other side characters from other movies. It's the definition of like a passion project. It's like he's making a fan movie about his own universe that he created with the biggest budget he was ever given. I mean, I think we got a blank check movie here.
To an extent, I'm actually trying to find some information about that, because, Dogma didn't make like a ton of money, which is always
40 million.
interesting to me.
His movies have all been profitable, but like because the budgets were always pretty low.
Kind of small. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
Chasing Amy very famously was made for like 250 grand. And so it's interesting that after, a modest success of, I guess 45 million off a 10 million budget is a pretty big success.
Yeah.
So to double that budget for basically a movie where just all of Kevin Smith's characters come and play is a bit of a gamble. And then, you know, like you said, this movie, you know, oddly, like the receipts were not there for this one quite as much as they were for Dogma. So it ends up being a bit of a flop.
Brings in 33.8 million at the box office. So yeah, not doing great in its theatrical run. But this is the kind of movie that's going to do gangbusters on DVD, which I'm sure it did. I'm sure it eventually became profitable. But still, you sure they're probably hoping for somewhere between like 70 and 80 million at the box office, and it does not get there. Critically, I mean, critics are split. It has a 52% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, but honestly, that's pretty good for a stoner comedy. Like, this isn't a movie made for critics, and you're still, you know, technically ringing in over half of them with a recommendation. Audience score, of course, going to be higher at 75%. So I think critically, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I think generally speaking, Kevin Smith's fans really enjoyed this one. They loved all the callbacks back to this is a shared universe before shared universes were really a thing. Like, it really was. Like, all these movies were like separate groups of characters. Jay and Silent Bob carry through a lot of it, but like,
even the fact that I don't know if I realized while watching this movie and seeing the opening credits that it says like View Askewniverse on screen. I kind of always assumed that was like given by fans and like a unofficial adoption of what do you call these movies, but it's canon, at least as of here. And like you said, predating Hollywood's obsession with the shared universe.
Because like the whole like the gag in Clerks is that at one point they talk about this girl that died, and that's like there's a set piece in Clerks that they didn't get to shoot because it would have been too expensive, but it's Randall and Dante at the funeral, which they very famously knocked the casket over, and so you only see them go in and then run out. They didn't have enough to shoot inside, basically. And then at the beginning of Mallrats, they talk about a girl who was supposed to be on this dating show that died, and it's her. It's the same. So that's the story that Mallrats actually takes place the day before Clerks does. And then Chasing Amy references a bunch of these same characters. So they're just a lot of it's background stuff, but then obviously the carry through is Jay and Silent Bob, who are only in Chasing Amy for one scene. They're not in it a lot, but and then Dogma carries through Jay and Silent Bob, and that's really the only connective thread. But then this movie obviously brings everything back. It brings everybody, you know, multiple people are playing multiple characters, and it's a whole thing. But and it's kind of wild that he got $22 million to do that. Like, really, at the end of the day, like it's like, hey, I'm just gonna make a movie where like all of my friends come back and we get to do what we want. And it reminds me of when he was talking about making Chasing Amy, because he wrote Chasing Amy with Ben Affleck, Jason Lee, and Joey Lauren Adams like in mind. And when he sent the script to Miramax, they asked him who he thought for it, and he said those names. And they were like, "Oh, we were thinking David Schwimmer, somebody else, and Drew Barrymore. I can't remember the other actor they named." And Kevin Smith was like, "Oh, well, I kind of want to make it with my people." And they were like, "Kevin, it's not just about making a movie with your friends." And he was like, "Isn't it though? Like, isn't that the point? You know, make a movie with your friends. That's Adam Sandler's whole gig." But
I'm glad you brought this up. That's in my notes to talk about, Andrew. Why do you think Adam Sandler gets sacked with that so often? He just casts his friends. He's making moves with his buds as a derogatory way. But that's literally what Kevin Smith built his career on. But people don't seem to have a problem with it. I don't hear that complaint. Oh, it's just Kevin Smith and his friends again. People seem fine with this. What do you think the difference is?
I think Adam Sandler is just an in vogue thing to beat up on. Because here's the thing, folks. Like, lots of directors work with the same cast and crew a lot. Like, tons of them do. Like, you look at, there's literally directors who have recurring collaborator sections of their Wikipedia page that are just all about how they keep working with the same people again and again and again. Like, how many Tarantino movies has Samuel L. Jackson been in? Like, come on. Like, it's...
Yeah, Nolan and Cillian Murphy.
So for me, I think there's a couple of things there. One primarily is that it's just cool to beat up on Adam Sandler. Two, the movies are largely seen as not good.
Sure.
And I think there is a question of the talent of the friends he keeps using as well.
Well, hey,
So I think
okay,
it's-
so that's the thing, though. Kevin Smith, like, they're all talented, they're all good, is what he's asking them to do, but, like, he has, like, these guys are literally just his friends, in that if you look at their filmography, it's all Kevin Smith movies. I mean, like...
Well, some of them, yeah, but, like, you know, the Jason Lees, the Ben Afflecks, they've done other things.
Sure, but, like, Randall, Dante, and Jason
Yeah,
Mewes...
they've never done anything else. Like,
yeah.
So don't get me wrong. I don't disagree with you at all. I think if you're gonna, like, for me, like,
I don't think it's
Adam
bad. I just
Sandler-
think it's interesting we zero in on Sandler and not Kevin Smith. That's
I
all.
think largely it's just in vogue to beat up on Adam Sandler and his buddies, that they're just being super lazy and everything. And it's like, look, I don't care. I don't like Adam Sandler movies for a variety of reasons. It's not because he keeps using the same people in them. Like, that's not. And let me be clear with you guys. That's not why you don't like them either. Like, it's got nothing. Like, the fact that he's using Rob Schneider or David Spade or Kevin James in all of his movies, like, that's not why you don't like them. It's not. It's because they're not good. Hashtag PP. But anyway, I was looking at this box office because, you know, I got to do my box office numbers here. It opens third. It opens third in its opening weekend, behind two other sequels.
You know, I actually looked at this briefly earlier because I thought it was funny that it's behind. I think one of them is American Pie 2, which
Yep.
we have Jason Biggs in this movie lamenting the fact that he's only known for fucking a pie and in theaters at the same time as the sequel to that movie. Pretty funny. The other movie, what else is it behind? I don't know. What else is out there?
So number one is American Pie 2 in its third week of release. Total gross standing at $109 million.
Wow.
Number
For
two,
R-rated comedy. Crazy.
At number two in its fourth week of release, Rush Hour 2.
Okay.
Sitting at a total gross of $183 million. Now, to be clear here, American Pie 2 makes $12.5 million. Rush Hour 2 makes $11.5 million. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back makes $11 million. So it almost edges these other two movies out, which are both in their several week of release at this time. Rounding out our top five is The Others. Didn't realize that movie did quite as successfully as it did. And then number five is Rat Race, which just
I was
always
just
makes me laugh.
talking about that movie with my brother the other day. I haven't watched that in forever, but it's got
Although I
some
will
all-time
say,
gags in there.
also opening that weekend, unfortunately coming in at number 9 with 3.8 million, alum of the show, Ghosts of Mars.
Oof.
John Carpenter versus Kevin Smith at the box office, and Kevin Smith won. Oof. Folks, we're better than this. But
Hey, wait,
yeah,
that means Wes Craven beat John Carpenter at the box office that weekend.
Wes Craven beat John Carpenter at the box office lots of times. But
Yeah, fair enough. Fair
Wes
enough.
Craven had much more wide-reaching success than John Carpenter did, I think, based off of the success of Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream alone. But anyway, yeah, an unfortunately modest box office in that opening weekend that opens at number 3. It does not hold on to much in its next week of release. It drops 50% to 5.2 million, coming in at number 8. It is Everything Gets Upset by new release Jeepers Creepers, which is a very, very interesting movie. I definitely suggest Googling Jeepers Creepers Victor Salva and seeing the full story. And then by the third weekend, it's out of the top 10. Everything's still ahead of it. Everything's just beating it up at that point, and then within a couple of more weeks, it's almost gone completely. But,
Is Rush Hour 2 the best Rush Hour, Andrew?
I don't know. I still think I like the first Rush Hour
First
a
one?
lot. Like,
Yeah.
I think it is. I still think the first one is like the best of the best because, like,
But Rush Hour 2 has the better bloopers.
well, yeah, sure,
Okay.
but Rush Hour is the better movie. To
Okay.
me, there's a
I can agree with
novelty. There's a novelty of like that first time that the sequels are kind of always, and that's true of any comedy sequel, especially like when you're doing a comedy sequel, you're struggling to create a fresh formula, and
Yeah,
it almost
especially
never feels as fresh
like a
the first time, the second
buddy
time.
cop movie where it's like they're from two different worlds. They finally figure out how to get along. The second one's like, well, they already get along. It's like, what it was just, where's the.
And don't get me wrong,
juice
like you
after that?
can certainly just tell a story where they get along the whole time. You don't need to have them find tension, but it makes it a different thing. So I just, yeah, Rush Hour is the best Rush Hour.
Okay, fair enough. Normally it's where we take a look at the creative team, but it's just Kevin Smith, written and directed by Kevin Smith. This is his fifth movie. We talked about him a lot already. We're going to talk about him a lot more because he is one of the stars of the film. So, Andrew, I think it's time that we just jump into it. Talk about this movie, all the
Yep.
positives, everything we like about Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. You ready?
Yes.
Slackers, stoners, and hetero life mates Jay and Silent Bob find out that a comic book based on them is being adapted into a Hollywood movie when they are told that nerds are insulting them online. Determined to shut down production, the duo hitchhike their way to Hollywood and meet some characters along the way. I don't know. I'm not going to walk you through all the gags we go through. We were just talking about this, right? Like the comedy setup of like
Yeah.
a road trip is just an excuse to have a bunch of gags. This is a great example of that. It never gets old. When it's done well, it's done well. Like, I don't care that the narrative is a thin excuse to string all your desperate ideas together. If they're funny, if they work, more power to you. I think this is a great example of it. And it's a great example of the two idiots, two dudes that are really dumb, that are great friends. I mean, we just did this with Dude, Where's My Car? But it's a tried and true formula I find myself being a big fan of. Andrew, we're going to talk about all those wacky characters and the hijinks they get into. But first, we got to talk about this cast. And we're going to start with the high point, best casting and best performance of the movie, because every episode we recognize one person who goes so far above and beyond the Call of Duty that they actually elevate the quality of the entire film with their performance. And we recognize that person by giving them the Mark Strong Award. So, Andrew, kick us off. Who is getting a Mark Strong Award for Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
It is Will Ferrell as Federal Wildlife Marshal Will and Holly.
We had that locked and loaded.
I do genuinely think this movie is better with this character. Jay and Silent Bob are kind of proven commodities. And I don't mean this in a backhanded way, but a movie centered on them when they've only ever been side characters is something that I think is largely going to depend on who is around them. And I think this movie very smartly finds some very talented people to be around them. And I think the movie is better for that. And I absolutely love this dumb, stupid federal wildlife marshal played by Will Ferrell to perfection.
Yes.
The gimmick here is that during a jewel heist, the jewel thieves have Jay and Silent Bob rob an animal testing facility and spring a bunch of animals as a distraction, at which point they leave with a monkey.
It's an orangutan, Andrew, which is part of the ape family.
Sorry. Thanks, Judd Nelson. Your unconventional but constitutionally protected family unit. I think this character's super funny. The moment he arrives on scene, basically he's a federal wildlife marshal that is taking over the investigation and the hunting down of Jay and Silent Bob because there is wildlife involved, which is not at all how that works. Not at all about how any of that works. But He gets to do a bunch of fun gags with them. Will Ferrell kind of really getting to lean into all of his comic muscles here. Gets to do some fugitive takeoffs and stuff like that too, and the dam tunnels and things. But I just think he's clearly having a blast, and I think he plays well off of all these characters because he is somebody that is new to this world. He has never really appeared in any of these films to this point, and this is kind of really before Will Ferrell blows up.
Honestly,
I forget what year Elf is. Elf and Old School are both 03, and then Zoolander is 2001. So I guess that's the same year as Zoolander. So this is probably right on the cusp of his fame.
He shows up, and I'm literally assuming it's a cameo, like Austin Powers style, but his character recurs and is in the rest of the movie, and so it's clearly like a bit part, a supporting role. He is not to the status where he's like doing Kevin Smith a favor, popping in as a cameo. He's just, in 2001, he's just like that guy from SNL that's starting to blow up.
So Zoolander is about a month after this. And I would say that's definitely going to be like Mugatu is definitely, I think, one of his like breakout things where he's kind of like, all right, I've arrived. And I think this is a really great showcase for him. I think he's used perfectly here. I think he's got the right tone and everything for all this. I don't really know how to put it. And then he ends up leaving SNL, I think, the next year. So this is like definitely big. And then you get Elf and Old School in 03, and then you get Anchorman in 04. And at that point, he's Will Ferrell. The Old School to Elf to Anchorman, that's about as big a rise as you get. And obviously there's, variety of things mixed in the middle there. But this is oddly enough, like, he's got obviously Night at the Roxbury a few years before this, but that obviously crashed and burned. He's got bit parts and obviously Austin Powers and Superstar, but like none of those really catch on either. So like it's the Electric Nebraska of Will Ferrell's career in a lot of ways. But I think he's just really funny here. I think he does a really good job playing off of all these characters. Like I said, he's new to this world. He's one of the few in this movie that kind of is. That's not really true. There's a bunch in this movie that never really showed up before. But he's used to great effect. And I think the movie is better, definitely, for him being in it.
I mean, it's a great pick. It's Will Ferrell, alum of the show. We did cover A Night at the Roxbury. We might have talked about him in other places as well that I'm not thinking of right now. But I think this is his first Mark Strong award. I don't think he got one on Night at the Roxbury. Of course, there is no way to check and no way to truly know. But one thing is for certain, he is a Mark Strong award winner now. Yeah, I love this performance. I always say, like, I like Will Ferrell, I don't love Will Ferrell, I'm the biggest fan, but like anytime I actually watch a performance of his, like, well, I like that one. Like, I don't know where any of the backlash is the right word, but I don't know why I don't ever go all in on Will Ferrell, but I pretty much like him, anything I see him in. And this is great performance.
I feel kind of the same way. Like, there's definitely, like he does, like, for every Step Brothers, there's a Blades of Glory or a Semi-Pro. So it's kind of tough to like for every time you're just like, oh man, yeah, that was really funny. He then does something where you're like, oh, okay. Like,
but is he even the reason those don't work though? I don't know.
I don't know. Probably not. But well, then, like, I've obviously sung the praises of the other guys endlessly. Like, I love that movie and it's fantastic. And then he also does one called Stranger Than Fiction in 2006. I don't know if I've ever talked about Stranger Than Fiction on the pod before, but I love that movie. And if there's anybody that's ever kind of like, oh, Will Ferrell can't do X, Y, and Z, like he can't actually act, he can't actually show range, he can't actually be dramatic, like I send them to Stranger Than Fiction because that is tremendous movie that I love a lot. It's definitely a more understated performance. And it's one of my favorites of his whole filmography. It's just one of my favorite movies. I just think that's a really, really great movie that not enough people talk about. Very much occupies a space in my head similar to like Secret Life of Walter Mitty at times, where like I just think there's these movies that like to me spoke very heavily to me when I saw them, but it feels like nobody else really remembers them. But anyway, yeah, Will Ferrell, he's great, turns out.
Well, Andrew, my Mark Strong award is also not going to one of the titular characters, even though I like what both of them are doing, and we are going to discuss them very shortly. But my Mark Strong award, Andrew, is going to someone who was not only the bomb in Phantom, but is the bomb in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I'm, of course, talking about Ben Affleck, who plays himself and also reprises his role as Holden McNeil from Chasing Amy. But even whenever he's playing Holden, he's still doing a lot of meta references. He's in like 2 big scenes and some smaller stuff throughout. So definitely like supporting role here. Just barely above cameo. But I love this performance, and I especially love that this is coming in 2001. Like, this is... Oh, man, I don't even know. His career's had ups and downs, so this is a peak of his career. I think he's had a bigger peak later when he got more into directing, but this is post-Armageddon. He's already like a leading man. He's had big blockbusters. He's had hits. He's had flops. He's had dramas. He's had rom-coms. He's a big deal. And the amount of meta jokes this movie has, and in references and poking fun of itself, making fun of Hollywood, the fact that he's game to do it all, and he's 2001 easily the biggest name in this movie, and he's willing to make fun of himself so much and fully dedicate to this. I mean, I'll talk a lot more about him playing himself when we get to favorite scenes here in a moment, but I like every choice that he's making here. And I feel like we're seeing a shade of Ben Affleck that we wouldn't see in full until much, much later in his career. We're seeing like the meme of him smoking on his back porch and like years before that photo comes out,
God.
right?
Yeah.
And I love it. I love him for it. I think his scenes are all killer, and I just appreciate that, again, A-lister, Ben Affleck, willing to do something like this, and I think he knocks it out of the park.
You could say that for several of the cameos in this movie, that like I really do appreciate that so many of them were just willing to play ball with roles that largely just exist to poke fun at themselves. But Ben Affleck is definitely kind of chief among those. The Good Will Hunting 2 scene, we're going to talk about it later. Trust me.
Yeah.
I still like. I'll just think of that scene and I'll start laughing.
The amount of times I've heard
it's...
you lion face, lemon face.
Yeah. That scene is so funny to me.
He does it before we hit record every week, guys.
Every time. And Chris doesn't join in at all. Now it's interesting because like Kevin Smith and Ben Affleck end up having kind of a falling out, I guess. Kind of when Ben Affleck starts getting like the kind of director reputation when he does like stuff like The Town, Argo,
Gone Baby Gone.
The other one, Gone Baby Gone. There it is. When he starts getting like the critical acclaim and things like that, there's kind of this seeming like split between them. And Kevin Smith has never really, like, they spoke about it kind of in passing. And I think it was more like they just kind of drifted apart. And then like Kevin Smith just kind of never bothered like reaching out to him. And then obviously Ben Affleck never really did the same. And I don't remember how it happened, but it culminates that in Jay and Silent Bob reboot, he reprises the role of Holden McNeil in that movie, which I just thought was wonderful. It's another scene where like it's one of those scenes that when you watch it, you're just kind of like, Kevin, if you did this all the time, no one would ever make fun of you. Like you clearly, it's the scene in the movie where I'm like, it's kind of like that scene in Hook where the kid like looks at his face and goes, "There you are, Peter."
Yeah.
It's like that moment, like where you're just like, you're watching that scene unfold and it's obviously changing the context of the characters and we're different, we're older and everything. And like, it's one of those things where like you watch it and you're just like, you can do this, Kevin. Like Kevin Smith, like you can do it. Like it's
Damn
there.
it, Andrew! I have to watch Jay and Silent Bob reboot now. That's what you're telling me, just so I can see the scene. Okay,
it's very, very good, and as a parent, I think it will hit somewhat for you as well. But it was just nice to see them reconcile after so many years, and just kind of have it culminate in in a moment like that. And Matt Damon got in on some of these too. Like I think he has a cameo in the Jay and Silent Bob reboot too, which is wild. Like it's just nuts that like it's crazy. Like in 20, whenever that was, I think it was 2019. That like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are somehow showing up in Kevin Smith movies still. Like despite the fact that Matt Damon and Matt Damon especially is like he's a movie star essentially. Like it's kind of wild that he's like and so it's cool that they still have those moments of like what. We can go back and do this thing too, and it's okay.
It is cool, Andrew. I agree. It's time we talk about the true lead to this movie, though, Jay and Silent Bob. Let's start with Jay. Jason Mewes is the lead of this movie. I mean, this guy
that's a crazy thing to say out loud.
Basically not an actor.
Star of this movie.
Is the star of a major Hollywood picture. Behind the scenes, I think this movie is sort of the peak of his drug abuse struggles, and the relationship between him and Kevin Smith was actually very strained during this time, which is very sad, but on the flip side, very impressive that I don't think any of that makes it to the screen. I think he holds his own. This is Jay as good as he's ever been. But also, this character is going to make or break the movie for you. Like, if you don't vibe with it like at all, if you find it very off-putting, you're not you're out. No cameo is gonna save you from this. But I enjoy this character. I like him because like the stoner aspect is fine. It's how dumb he is that I think is where he really sings. My favorite Jay moments are just when he's an absolute idiot, like whenever he's offered half of what Jason Lee made on the movie, then he offers him 2/3. He goes, no, you already said half. I mean, it's dumb, but like that's the stuff that I love from this guy. And I think he does it very well. From what I understand, he is sober now and has managed to maintain a sobriety. So congrats, Jason Mewes. And I mean, the dude's a movie star. Crazy.
It's wild to think that that's a thing that happened, that Jason Mewes basically through nothing but sheer willpower and Kevin Smith's doing is the star of a movie. He's told stories about how like when they were doing Dogma, Kevin Smith was like very worried about Jason Mewes on Dogma because Dogma was like the first movie that Kevin Smith did that had like what he calls real actors in it. Because, to that point, like all of the productions had largely been a lot of like, they were all either people that were also new to productions. Like there were very few veteran actors in a lot of Kevin Smith's early movies. Like, Clerks is obviously just him and all of his friends, literally. Mallrats is a lot of that same group, but then like you bring in Ben Affleck and Jason Lee and Ethan Suplee, and they're all new to this. They're all new. And then Chasing Amy is just a lot of those players again. Dogma bringing in like obviously Alan Rickman obviously being the biggest name, but
I think I heard Kevin Smith tell the story where he's talking about casting it, and he's like, I want like a Hans Gruber type, like Alan Rickman from Die Hard, and they were like, well, we can just try to get Alan Rickman, and like he's like, we asked him, and he said yes. Yeah.
But like Linda Fiorentino was the star of that movie. Obviously Salma Hayek. Chris Rock was in there too. So like there was this, then obviously you had it led again by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, who are literally like fresh off Good Will Hunting at that point. So like there's this way more interest in a movie like Dogma than there arguably would have been before. And so Kevin Smith kind of spoke that like he was a little nervous about Jason Mewes coming into that movie because he was just like, you can't come in to like do scenes with Alan Rickman and be doing all your dumb crap. Like, you got to know your lines, you got to know your stuff. Like, you got to come dialed in. And so the way he kind of described the process is that he would work with Jason Mewes alone for rehearsals and then bring Jason Mewes like into the group later. And that was kind of the process of how he like weaned him into the process to make sure basically that he knew all of his lines before he then took him to the group. Like, Kevin Smith is very protective of Jason Mewes. It's a little adorable. But when they were getting ready for Dogma, he like started doing the lines for Jason Mewes, they did the rehearsal with just the two of them, and Jason Mewes came in with no script. And Kevin Smith was like, where's your script, man? And Jason Mewes was like, I don't need it. And Kevin Smith was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I memorized my lines. And he's like, well, he's like, bullshit. And he's like, try me. And so he starts reading the lines, and Jason Mewes just starts reading his lines back like he knew it, back of his hand. And Kevin Smith's like, you really learned all your lines for this? And Jason Mewes is like, yeah, everybody else's too. And Kevin Smith was like, no fucking way. And Jason Mewes just read a whole scene himself. He read every single, like the dude literally memorized the entire script back to back, everybody's parts for Dogma, because I think Kevin Smith is like, what are you, how have you been able to do this? Why did you do this? And Jason Mewes is like, I didn't want to piss off Alan Rickman. Like he was just so worried about like he was so nervous about being stupid in front of Alan Rickman that he learned the entire script. Alan Rickman, who's in like 4 scenes of that movie, several of which he's not even in. Like it's one of the most ridiculous things possible. But but to have that all culminate in him genuinely getting to be the star of, like, you know, like something like the Jay and Silent Bob reboot is clearly like a smaller production. We're back down in like budget and cost and everything. But this was like you said, this is $22 million with Miramax. Like this is a pretty big deal. And so it's very cool to see. But you are right that like, there's no real nice way to say it. Your enjoyment of this movie rests on if you can tolerate the humor of this character, basically.
Yeah.
If it's not for you, then it's not going to work. It's just not going to carry. But yeah, good for everyone.
Kevin Smith is Silent Bob, the mostly silent sidekick to Jay, who is interesting character because like he's clearly smarter than Jay. But he's also an idiot, has his own dumb moments. He's a silent character, except when he chooses to talk. Correct me if I'm wrong. The only time he talked in the first 4 movies was his Chasing Amy dialogue?
No.
No, am I wrong about that? Is it always like one moment?
It's usually one moment. Like
I don't
in
remember
Clerks,
one
he
in
has a
Dogma.
line. I don't think. Oh, he says no ticket in Dogma. Like he
Okay.
throws the guy off the train, and the guy looks at him all crazy, and he goes, "No ticket."
Oh, yeah.
And he
yeah.
might have one other line in Dogma. I don't remember. Chasing Amy has the whole monologue. Clerks, there's a speech at the end where he's supposed to say, you know, there's a million fine-looking women in the world, but most of them don't bring you lunch at work. Most of them just cheat on you. But Jason Mewes couldn't spit it out, so Kevin Smith went, fine, I'll say it instead. And so that's his one line in Clerks, is that right at the end when Dante's in his weird. It's another one of those things that's like, you think back and you're just like, what a dumb thing. Like, it's like Dante has 2 choices. He can go back with his girlfriend that's cheated on him multiple times in the past, or stay with his girlfriend that literally it brings him lunch at work and is super. Yeah, it's like, it's one of those things where you're like, this probably hit a lot harder when you were 19 than it does at 38.
Okay,
I don't
so
remember
fair
if he
enough.
talks
But
to Mars,
still,
but yeah.
it's not that his character can't talk; he just chooses not to. And sometimes when he
Usually,
talks,
yes.
it's really profound. Sometimes it's a joke. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
just he chose to talk. It's just you can't really put him in a box despite his name being Silent Bob. But he's great with the good eyebrow work. I'll say that. Great eyebrow work. Good reaction shots, and that's really all that we ask of Silent Bob, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's again, he kind of plays off of him, and a lot of it's just silent reaction. It's gesturing, and I do love the bit where he's trying to mime the sign on the back of the car, and he finally just loses his shit, and
Yeah.
it's just like, the sign, then Jason Mewes is all just like, Jesus, say it, don't spray it. But so I think there are genuinely some comedic moments here that he makes the most of. But yeah, there's really not a lot more to say about it. He's the writer, the director, and the co-star. What's the dream, man? Kevin Smith is the
Jason-
co-star of this movie too. Like it's lost too. Like unbelievable.
Oh, talk about dream fulfillment. I mean, we'll get to it in scenes, but like the finale of this movie, he is Batman in a Star Wars movie. I mean, like it's that he wrote and directed. Like, I mean,
Right.
That's the peak. All right. Jason.
They both get to lightsaber fight Mark Hamill. Like,
Yeah.
they both get to do that in this movie. Like literally. Like, and you know, people will be like, you know, it's one of those things that, like, you know, people will be like, oh, isn't that just kind of this? It's like, yeah, it is, and it's awesome. Like, what, you would do it too. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, of course I would do this. Like,
Andrew, doing no research off the top of my dome here. Have Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher appeared in 7 movies together? Is it 6 Star Wars movies in this? if you count The Rise of Skywalker as Carrie Fisher.
Yes.
I mean, that's pretty crazy, right? They don't have a scene together, but the fact that this is the only non-Star Wars
Only non-Star Wars movie that they're both in. I think so. I don't like Carrie Fisher. Mark Hamill never appeared in a Scream movie, I don't think, because Carrie Fisher's in Scream 3, with the greatest actor of all time, Scott Foley. But yeah, I don't. That's so. Again, just talk about wish fulfillment. It's the only non-Star Wars movie that Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia have been in together. It's wild.
If only he got Harrison Ford in like the George Carlin part.
Harrison, yeah, I was gonna say that's the exact role that I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like, do Harrison Ford, and obviously George Carlin, like getting George Carlin in your movies had to,
that's
come
awesome.
true. Like the fact that he had him in 2, like his character in Dogma still makes me laugh. Just like the gotta hook them while they're young. Oh, like the tobacco industry. If only we had their numbers. But
I mean, his character here is great too. We'll get to it. We'll get to it in scenes.
There.
But heck of a cast to go through. Let's start trucking here. Jason Lee reprising 2 roles. It's a bit of a sloppy universe we have going here, but he's reprising Brody from Mallrats as well as Banky from Chasing Amy. Banky has a beard and a baseball cap on. That's how you know they're 2 different people. I've always liked Jason Lee a lot. I mean, from his early roles through My Name is Earl, even like the one kind of serious thing he did with Vanilla Sky, I'm always happy to see this guy show up. Very likable.
Yeah, it's kind of what was he in? Dreamcatcher, I think was the Stephen King movie he was in. That was
a bit
of a wild one.
Yeah.
He is. He won an Independent Spirit Award for Chasing Amy, but and then he also shows up in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, but he was even in Cop Out. Like, he was even at like Kevin Smith at his lowest. He was there for the whole thing, but and also was a skateboarder. So Jason Lee just living the dream, Scientology aside.
Also, the namesake of the late great Brody Lee, who just took Brody from Mallrats and Lee from Jason Lee.
From his name?
Yeah.
No, really?
That's the origin of his name, yeah.
I did not know that. Somehow I did not know that. That's wild. That is absolutely wild.
All right, let's talk about the jewel thieves. I'm trying to remember if they have a proper name, but you know what I'm talking about. The team of hot chicks that steal the diamonds. You have Shannon Elizabeth as Justice, Eliza Dushku as Sissy, Allie Larder as Chrissy, and Jennifer Schwalbach as Missy. Now, Jennifer there is married to Kevin Smith, and she's one of the people that basically all her credits are Kevin Smith movies. I think she was like a reporter before they met. Like, I don't think she's an actor properly, but she shows up in his movies. But you look at the other 3, and those are like I wanted to say like the hottest female stars at the time, but I mean that for like the roles they're getting and their acting ability. But yes, also they're all extremely attractive, which is why they are cast as these jewel thieves that wear skin tight black bodysuits. But the cast that he assembles for this, from cameos to bit parts to supporting roles, it's like he got his first choice on every single character is what it feels like.
Right.
Shannon Elizabeth, I love that there's even the joke with Jason Biggs. They meet him and ask if he hooked up with the Russian chick from American Pie, who's played by Shannon Elizabeth. He's like, "Oh, Shannon? Well, we had this one time," and obviously it's the same actor that Jason Mewes Jay has the hots for in this movie. Just another fun meta joke. Eliza Dushku, Allie Larder, an alum of the show. We talked about her on Final Destination. I think she's only one of the 3 that we've actually covered before. But yeah, big fan of all 3 of these women at the time, to this day. But it's really good. And I love that also. I just want to say, like, they're all clearly willing to make fun of themselves, especially Allie Larder, who rips a big fart in the movie. I'm actually genuinely impressed that she's
the face she makes. The face she makes is just the icing on the cake there. But like, it's obviously this is, they're occupying that Black Widow, Catwoman type look space, all of that. I think that was even the inspiration they gave the costume designer. But yeah, it's obviously this is a part of the B plot where, Jay and Silent Bob follow with this group. They are the distraction while they do the jewel heist, and obviously Shannon Elizabeth's character falls for Jay and kind of turns her back on the rest of the group, leading to kind of part of our big final showdown. But yeah, all four of them are filling their roles exactly as needed, and but everybody kind of getting their moments to shine and making sure they all kind of have their fit into their space just right.
Andrew, pretty much everyone else is a cameo, and I think we can just talk about them as they come up in scenes. So we got to start talking about this movie, Andrew.
Right.
There's a lot to go over.
We're an hour into this hour 12 into this conversation. We should
into this 4-hour conversation. All right. Let's just start. What do you say, Andrew? With the best scene of the movie, huh? Or at least our personal favorite. So, in your opinion, when is this movie firing on all cylinders? What is the best scene in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
There are two scenes that immediately come to mind, and I don't know. I presume we will inevitably get to the other scene I'm thinking of, but I'm going to start with what I think is one of the most ridiculous, and definitely we'll call it wish fulfillments of the entire movie, and it is the finale of, not the finale of the movie necessarily, but it is the Blunt Man and Chronic set where Chris Rock as Choco Luther King is directing this movie, where they are presumably filming the finale of the Jay and Silent Bob movie, where Blunt Man and Chronic face off against Cockknocker, played expertly by Mark Hamill. Which, why is he?
But I just want to say, genuinely played expertly by Mark Hamill. He plays the shit out of that character.
Like, he goes so much harder than he needs to for this. It is genuinely unbelievable how much, how far he takes this. And this is led up to where, like, we believe that it's Jason Biggs and James Vanderbeek that are supposed to star in this movie, but they beat them up and steal the suits. And then they end up on the Blunt Cave set, where eventually Mark Hamill appears, and they engage in what is definitely not a lightsaber fight, but is clearly just a chance for these guys to all basically mess around and have a lightsaber fight. And it is wonderful. All the dumb dialogue, all the stupid quips and everything, all of it is just fantastic. From Mark Hamill's performance, especially with the look, he's got this ridiculous, like, yellow spiked wig. And it's one of those things, like, at this time, Mark Hamill was kind of like disappear. Like, people didn't really use Mark Hamill a lot. Like, he wasn't really appearing in anything. He didn't really have a whole lot of, like, the Joker was his biggest thing at the time.
To most people, he's just the guy that used to be in Star Wars. To, like, nerds, he's got his voice acting. But so it's not that only nerds know of him. Everyone knows of him, but, like, I guess only nerds know that he's still awesome or still actively, like, working and doing great work.
Either way, it's a super fun scene. Silent Bob actually masters the Jedi mind trick, and I've always loved Chris Rock's reaction to that, where he, like, pulls his head and Chris Rock just goes, "Whoa!" Like he wasn't expecting it. And then, what proceeds is Kevin Smith, and then in turn, Jason Mewes getting to have an extended lightsaber fight with Mark Hamill, which, how cool is that? Like, I love The Last Jedi, but Mark Hamill lightsaber fights with these two guys more than anybody in the new trilogy. He just, there's nothing in there.
Man,
but which
don't
is a weird
give
thing to say out
fuel to
loud.
the haters, Andrew. But
I won't.
You're right about that.
The scene at the end of Last Jedi where him and Kylo Ren have their face off is a much better scene and sequence than anything in this movie. But he's not actually there. But this whole sequence is just super funny. It's super fun. I love all the Choco Luther King stuff. It's just so funny to me that, it's Chris Rock playing this, like, this aggrieved director who's just annoyed that this is apparently the biggest project that he can get. I love that Mark Hamill is just willing to like play ball with this. I love the line where he's like, "This movie's gonna make House Party look like House Party 2," and then the assistant is like, "Or House Party 3," and he just goes, "Shut the fuck up!" Like, like he's just so mad,
Dude, and
that,
the other assistant is Jamie Kennedy, and
Yep.
I a great performance from Jamie Kennedy. I think he's very funny. Like it's gonna sound backhanded. It's one of the best performances I've seen Jamie Kennedy in. That's harsh because it's so small, but like he plays it so small. The way he's like giving him a cup of coffee, he's like, "What'd you do to it? Is there boogers in it?" There's no boogers in it, sir.
No boogers.
Taste
in
it. No, it
Taste
tastes
the
good. There's
booger
no
flavor.
boogers in
I
it.
know it's in there.
He knocks it out of his hands. Like, "I'll get you another one, sir." Like he plays it so like meek.
It's so meek, yeah.
And he does it really well. Of course, his best role is in Scream, so I don't want to be too harsh on Jamie Kennedy.
Where he plays Randy Meeks. But
well,
but this sequence is my favorite. Like you said, the whole Hollywood sequences are great, but like this whole sequence of them having this fight, and then Jason Mewes jumps in and uses the double-bladed Bong saber to have, which is obviously this is a post episode 1 movie, because despite all the hemming and hawing by everybody about how bad episode 1 was when it came out, everybody thought the double lightsaber was dope, so people ripped it off almost immediately. But
Darth Balls.
Bong. And then like it's funny in this sequence that too there's this bit of Kevin Smith was talking about how on this movie Jason Mewes would suggest things, and that bit where he like kills the Bong saber and then takes a hit off of it, like that was Jason Mewes' idea. He was like, what if like during the fight I turn it off and I take like a hit of the smoke and then I turn on and go back at it. And Kevin Smith was like, damn it, why didn't I think of that? Like, come on. Like, and then like I love Mark Hamill's reaction to that too, where he's just like, like he's just incensed. He has no idea what's happening. And the best part of this to me is that all of this is supposed to be a choreographed fight.
Yes.
This is the sequence they're supposed to be shooting for the movie, and they're just wildly battling each other. And it's like, at no point did any of this seem odd to people.
Because even like Jason Mewes says something
at the end,
and Mark Hamill's like, "That's not the line," but then they just have a hand-to-hand fight with lightsabers that can actually cut. Whatever, we're just having a good time here. They cut off Mark Hamill's hand, which is a lot of fun, and of course he looks at the camera and says, "Not again," which is great. I'm so glad that Mark Hamill's willing to play ball, laugh at himself, make these references. But yeah, he like has a take on Cockknocker. He's got a voice picked out that's like super villainous. It's not the same as his Joker voice. It's unique to this character. I love how hard he goes on this. And you can just tell that Kevin Smith had to be geeking out. You can tell that he has such reverence for Mark Hamill for making him the finale of the movie. And he's like the only gratuitous cameo that gets a title card. It says, "Hey kids, it's Mark Hamill." Like it makes it a point to be like, "Look, it's Mark Hamill." Yeah, because like Carrie Fisher didn't get that, or the 10, 20 other cameos. Chris Rock doesn't get that, but like he's got to like, he looks at him as like the biggest name in the movie, which I think is very sweet actually. This is great. And then like everything that happens after this, like all hell breaks loose and every character converges, and the monkey shoots Will Ferrell and he thinks he's paralyzed. I love that. The monkey shot me in the ass and I'm paralyzed. Just what a line. It's really good, Andrew. The whole Hollywood act is the best part of the movie, but we're gonna drill into best scenes. I love your pick. I'm gonna go with what I think is the other sort of high point of the Hollywood sequences, and that is whenever Jay and Silent Bob, they're trying to get to Ben Affleck, so they sneak onto the set of his movie where they are shooting Good Will Hunting 2 hunting season. There is like 50 jokes in this scene that are just all executed perfectly. I love that Gus Van Sant can hardly be bothered to say action or cut or direct because he's literally just counting his money that he sold out to make Good Will Hunting 2. Very, very funny. Good use of him. Going back to like Ben Affleck getting a Mark Strong award, like the way he makes fun of himself, him and Matt Damon really like just taking shots at each other's career. But especially once they start filming the scene, Ben Affleck's super over the top, cheesy, bad acting, I think is very funny. Shooting him with a shotgun and then saying applesauce is a great line.
So good.
Lion face, lemon face, we've referenced already. They're a little warm up before they shoot. But one of the kind of smaller jokes, self-deprecating jokes, is like whenever the PA walks over and says they're about to start and puts his hand on his shoulder, and they're both just assholes to him. Like, don't touch me. Don't look at me. Get off the set. Like, just, again, make fun of themselves like they're actually assholes.
Like they're
PAs
pretentious
on set is just a fun little touch, little joke. It's good. It's like what if they made a sequel to Good Will Hunting and they just cram, like Kevin Smith just came up with, like I said, 50 jokes, and I think he nails them all. They get them all in there, and it's very funny. It's a great sequence, Andrew. My favorite in the movie.
I love this sequence so much. It's one of my favorites in the whole movie. This was the other scene in my head that when I think of the best scenes. I love all the jokes here. I love we get another kind of meta one where they're just like, they're talking about all the movies you got to do. And then they're like, and then sometimes you got to do the payback picture because your friend says you owe him. And they both just turn and look at the camera.
Yep.
Implying that despite their success, they still get called by Kevin Smith to do his movies. Make jokes about reindeer games. They make like, and it's kind of funny because like in the Clerks cartoon, they also make jokes about reindeer games. Like Kevin Smith really liked making fun of reindeer games for some reason. You know, they say like in the credits for all the Clerks episodes, they're like, all celebrity voices are impersonated and no actual celebrities have endorsed any aspect of this show. And then in turn, this show endorses no celebrities except Ben Affleck, pre-reindeer games. Like to specifically call out that we can't do it before.
Dude, we covered reindeer games. Did Ben Affleck pick up a Mark Strong award there, you think?
Maybe. No way to check.
No way to check. No way to know.
What's funny to me, too, is that like if the Clerks cartoon had continued, apparently one of the gags they were going to do was Ben Affleck as the King of Canada, which I just would have been super funny. The Clerks cartoon, just as an aside, is still genuinely possibly the funniest thing Kevin Smith's ever done. And it actually holds up really well. Like it's actually it genuinely is like, obviously it's like a cartoon. Like, so understand that you're not getting a Clerks cartoon in the sense that it's not just going to be the show, but it's genuinely meta and self-aware in a way that I just think is so funny.
How do I watch this, Andrew? They got to track down a DVD?
Probably. I think it is on Vudu. I think you can buy it on Vudu, but I have it on DVD, and then I added it to my Plex, so you might be able to watch it that way too. But it's just very funny. But there's only 6 episodes too. Like, so it's literally sit down and watch them all back to back. It's like 2 hours of your life. You're done.
The DVD is $6.49 on Amazon. There's only one left in stock. I should order it.
Better hurry.
The VHS tape, $199.
That seems like a lie that there's a VHS tape. But anyway, this sequence though is super. I love the bit because I think it's Scott Mosier, who's Kevin Smith's longtime producer, that's kind of working as like the assistant here. And I love when he brings Jay and Silent Bob like into the background of the set, and he's like, "All right, guys, just act like and don't talk." And he looks at Kevin Smith and goes, "Especially you." And then walks away. Just obviously the endless gag they love to make that people keep telling Silent Bob not to talk. Oh, I do love the Gus Van Sant bit in this scene. Just this Academy Award nominated director just willing to be like, I'm too busy to direct your movie, man, because I'm counting my money. I'm always like, so action, Gus, and he's like, Ben, I said I'm busy. I'm busy. Like I just, and they're like, true artist, Gus. But
how many directors appear on screen in this movie? Kevin Smith, Gus Van Sant, Wes Craven, Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck hadn't directed yet, though, had he?
Oh, no. I mean, now, like, looking back, like, how many people have directed a movie appear? Has Matt Damon directed anything yet?
I don't know if he has or not. It's a good question.
So we got 4 by my count, which isn't bad.
Screenwriter, he's an editor, never directed. You direct here? Nothing. I don't see a directing. Don't see directing for Matt Damon yet, but let's look again. I don't. I'm sure there's others. Mark Hamill, you directed anything? Have you
Chris
Mark Hamill?
Rock directed Head of State, so there's 5.
Yeah. Let's see. Has Mark Hamill directed anything? He did. He directed Comic Book the Movie, which is a direct-to-DVD mockumentary about something. So that's 6.
Pretty impressive.
It is. Is Jason Biggs, James Vanderbeek, they directed anything?
I don't know.
Carrie Fisher, George Carlin. George Carlin's directed something, hasn't he? Certainly he has. No, he hasn't. But anyway, yeah, a lot of directors appear in this movie. But anyway, this sequence is great. I love that everybody's playing ball. I love that it's even the guy from Good Will Hunting. It's like the jerk from Good. Everybody, It's like actual. So like the fact that like, because like normally I feel like this is something that they would just not do. You would be like, oh man, we don't want to cheapen, the accomplishment we had with the first movie. But yet so many of them came in willing to play ball and have fun and make a bunch of jokes about it that it's like, it's the kind of thing that, people say Hollywood doesn't like to do, but yet all of them seemingly lined up to do it. So it's kind of wild.
We should also say before we move on that Mark Hamill apparently voices Scooby-Doo, which is
apparently.
Why get Frank Welker when you can get Mark Hamill?
I mean, he was already there, I guess. So,
Andrew, over in the Discord, Mike Lynch wrote in with his thoughts on Jay and Silent Bob when we announced we were covering it. I would like to share that now. Mike Lynch says, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back holds good memories for me. My buddy Andy and I were big Kevin Smith fans. We watched everything that came out of the Askewniverse, frequented the comic shop in nearby Red Bank, just big fanboys. We were looking for movie times when Andy found Kevin had a website and we went right to it. After a while, we noticed a link at the bottom of the homepage. Check out what those jerks are saying about us on moviepoopshoot.com. It was a fully realized homepage with all the online comments from the movie. Fuck Jay and Silent Bob. Those guys are clown shoes. We had never heard of the site, but wow, these guys really had it out for Kevin Smith movies. I still remember that surprised look we gave each other the following day in the theater, hearing it all being said aloud. It was like a personal joke in the flick just for us. Who knew way back then that you could get duped on the internet? I love this. So they actually made the Poop Shoot website. They found it before the movie came out and then didn't know what it was until they saw the movie. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that story, Mike. And I love it's 2001 and I get that part of the joke is they're explaining the internet to Jay and Silent Bob because they're idiots. And by 2001, we all knew what the internet was. But part of it is because internet, and especially like nerdy movie forums, were still new to a lot of people. So the fact that he says, as long as there's movies and people complaining about them online, anonymous slander is what the internet is for. And the movie's, in a pre-social media era, the movie's really ahead of its time in that regard. But the internet just in this movie is just so primitive in a lot of ways. But also, we have the same problems today. But anyway, I do enjoy how much exposition there is about such a commonplace thing now in this movie.
Oh yeah, and I love the whole Ben Affleck's going fictional characters, like that whole thing. I like that's a line that's in my head anytime I watch people get like really upset about fiction. Like anytime I'm just like guys, like. I get passionate about things. I don't think I get as passionate about things as I used to. Like I used to actually get like kind of wound up. Imagine how I used to be if I'm still like this now. But it's something where like you can get like people get so angry about things. Like I remember when like that Captain America story came out where like at the end of like the first issue he said Hail Hydra. And man, people lost their minds. And like the whole time I was like, guys, it's not real. Like it's not
The
going to be
fictional characters played in your
but
mind.
also like guys, this is comics. Like this isn't they're not actually going to dedicate to a story where Captain America was a member of Hydra the whole time. Like they're never going to do that. Like they're not going to do that. Like it was one of those things where it was like it felt like everybody forgot everything they knew about comics for the last 50 years. And I was just like, what are we doing? And there were people that were like, this is disrespectful to like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and their Jewish roots with Captain America. And I was like, guys, like, okay, I don't want to tell people what to think about things, but we might be losing the sauce here a little bit. Where like we are not understanding that like this is not going to be a thing. And then it wasn't. By the end of the story, turned out it was not a thing. Like there was they explained the whole thing. And it's like, okay, yeah, it was fine.
How do they get
Fictional
out of it,
characters.
Andrew? How did they get out? Because I know
It wasn't
the moment.
actually him.
Okay, it's someone dressed as Captain America.
Somebody that looked like him, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tracy Morgan is in this movie, and I just say that
Pumpkin
because
Escobar.
it's the second week in a row that Tracy Morgan showed up. I don't think we talked
Indeed.
about it in Half Baked because Half Baked's 98. I think it's maybe pre SNL. I don't know when. Definitely pre 30 Rock. Pre everyone knowing Tracy Morgan is, and I don't know if it was a cameo in Half Baked or just he was a small time comedian actor at the time getting a small part. I think he's got a little bit more name value in 2001 when this comes out, and he has a supporting role. But anyway, all that is a second week in a row. We have Tracy Morgan. Much like I was describing Jim Brewer last week when I said, I don't know where the real guy ends and the character he's playing begins. I've always felt that way about Tracy Morgan. I think he's very funny, but like I can't tell what's an act and what is truly this guy, and it's kind of wild.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. I'm like, I don't know if there is a Tracy Morgan character or if everything we're watching is just how this man is, but he's pretty entertaining when he does it.
Also, the second week in a row with Jon Stewart in a cameo role, a small part. I think he's hilarious here. A little bit more in his element because he's a newscaster. He's sitting behind a desk, and obviously him and Will Ferrell get to go on and on about clit and clit jokes and labia. But by far, the biggest laugh I got from Jon Stewart was when he's like, I gotta warn you, it is graphic. And then they show the video of Jason Mewes screaming, I am the clit commander. Come back to Jon Stewart. Terrifying.
Terrifying.
That deadpan
terrifying.
delivery.
That
is
I will
wonderful.
always love. I will always love that. That's genuinely a delivery that I have. Anytime you see me type out something like terrifying or horrifying,
You're thinking of
that's
Jon
the
Stewart.
exact tone of voice. That's the exact tone of voice I'm going for in my response. Like there was like a bit. I don't know if you ever watched the old Southpaw regional wrestling skits that WWE did a couple of years back.
I actually never watched a couple of years back, Andrew. That was a long time ago.
Like, that was pre-COVID. First off, at the time, they were just genuinely hysterical. Like it was just genuinely like a bunch of wrestlers decided to poke fun at old regional wrestling groups, and it's like John Cena and Fandango as the lead announcers, and Chris Jericho's there, and it's a whole bunch of people. But there's one where it cuts to this video, and it's this really, really poorly acted thing, and then it cuts back to John Cena's character, who in the best deadpan goes, riveting, and then just continues on. But
Yeah,
it's
I gotta watch those.
those are the first one. There's two of them. There's South Park, but that first one, and then the joke it builds to. It's one of those other ones where you've got to watch every single one, and you've got to see if you catch on to it, and then the gag at the end is just chef's kiss. I won't say it's one man's trash level, but it's pretty good.
Okay, all right, I'll check it out.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, I found Clerks the animated series on the Internet Archive.
Oh, there you go.
It says it's
Do
AI upscaled to 1080. I mean, whatever. It's free. That's what I'm taking away from
I
this, but
guess.
throw that in my Plex. Speaking of like cutting to a character for a reaction, I love whenever they are in the gas station and all the girls are talking about they lost Sean William Scott, so they need a new fall guy. We'll get back to Sean William Scott because I love that cameo. They're inside the gas station and they're pressuring Justice to like trick those guys to take the fall for him. And she's like, "Oh, they're just so innocent." And it cuts to Jay and Silent Bob outside, and Jay just goes,
Jay's like,
"Yo,
humping a
baby,
window.
you ever get your asshole licked by a fat man in an overcoat?" It's perfect.
Oh my god! And then later he's
perfect.
humping the window.
Yeah.
But
Good. That's really
It's
funny.
so good.
It's really funny stuff.
it is. We do get cameos of the Clerks guys here. Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson both reappear briefly as their Clerks characters, Dante Hicks and Randall Graves, and are responsible for, in a way, offsetting the entire events of the film by banning Jay and Silent Bob from the convenience stores. Something that stays in place until the end of Clerks 2. But it is just a fun cameo. They show up a couple of times throughout the movie too. But
I say they show up as their characters, and then they show up again in the Planet of the Apes parody that goes like way harder than it has to. Like a significant amount of the budget goes into the dumb Planet of the Apes dream that he has.
I love that so much, but like the bit where he's on the beach and he goes, "Damn yous, damn yous all day." But the fact he says "yous" instead of "you," like so good. That a lot of that is taken from Kevin Smith did write a comic called Chasing Dogma. That was basically the bridge story for Jay and Silent Bob of them leaving Chasing Amy and then entering into Dogma. And so that whole like monkey subplot actually comes from there for the most part. So that whole like where the apes take over the world and everything. But like there's this whole funny story where at the end of one of the things that happens in Chasing Dogma is the monkeys tear down the head of the Lincoln Memorial and replace it with an ape head. And I don't know if you know this, but that's what happens at the end of Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. And I probably mentioned this exact story on that episode. Where,
I don't know if you did, honestly. Maybe.
So Kevin Smith was talking with one of his friends, and his friend was like, "Dude, did you see Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, at the end of the movie, they do that thing like that you did in your comic." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, that did happen." And they're kind of tee-heeing about it. And he's like, "Do you want to run something like in the press about it?" And Kevin Smith's like, "Sure." And so like they're telling the story about like, you know, Kevin Smith thinking of suing Tim Burton, like all laughing about it. And then his friend publishes a story and it's like, Kevin Smith is considering legal action against Tim Burton for the plagiarizing of his ideas. And Kevin Smith is like, "What'd you do, man? We were having fun."
Don't they have like a legitimate beef though, Kevin Smith and Tim Burton, or does it come from this?
I think it spurns from this because that's where Tim Burton very famously said, "Anyone who knows me knows I would never read a comic book." That's in response.
And then Kevin Smith said, "Anyone who saw Batman '89 knows that already," or something like that.
That explains fucking Batman is what he said. Which
is insane because I'm sure Kevin Smith loves Batman. Right?
Everybody loves Batman '89.
Yes,
everyone loves Batman '89. Even if you tried to tell me it was all nostalgia once upon a time. You did,
let
man.
it go. I know, Andrew.
Really
I know, and I
want
to tell you to let it go, but you would just tell me people don't forget quoting Superbad, and I would say wrestling is a business, and we have a good laugh about it.
And then
we've grown as people and as friends, Andrew. Can we just leave it at that?
There was some other dig I was going to throw in here real quick. I don't remember what it was. It's gone. Doesn't matter. But yeah.
Three Ninjas is better than Surf Ninjas.
That you get the fuck out of here. It's I don't know. I lost it. Whatever I was going to say is gone.
We mentioned George Carlin earlier. I just want to say I do love the back-to-back George Carlin, Carrie Fisher is just hilarious. George Carlin teaching them the book of the road, and that if you want to get a ride, you got to offer something. And he has a sign that says "We'll give head to give a ride." And I love just the line delivery. Jay is like, "Well, don't you kick you out when you don't make with the head?" He goes, "Yeah. If you don't make with the head." And how long it takes them to realize what he said, like,
"We ain't gay. Don't be so suburban. It's the new millennium. Gay, straight, it's all the same now."
I love whenever they get mistaken
There's
for
no
a gay
more
couple
boundaries. Yeah.
by Will Ferrell, and in like the cover story, Jay has to make it a point to be like, this one girl that I fuck, so I'm not all the way gay, but my husband here loves the cock.
Just
He's-
God damn it. So
Gotta keep it clear,
ridiculous.
but he still fucks ladies. Very good.
Yeah,
All
gotta do
right. Sean William Scott showing up for the second time this month. This is that era when he was just everywhere, and you know what? He's great. Like he didn't get overexposed. He's playing different characters, different shades every time. This doesn't feel like obviously this is not like Stifler. He's playing this like super goody two shoes Christian evangelical
opposite.
animal lover.
Polar
He's got the
opposite. Yeah.
goofy haircut with bangs. Man, he's making a meal out of those braces. I mean, the way he just wraps his lips around the braces, and I love the
ridiculous.
weird. He's all very soft spoken. Many times he gets firm with Jay. He calls him boy. What's your malfunction, boy? I love that voice that he slips into.
Little boy. What's your
little
malfunction,
boy.
little boy?
Yeah, it's really good. And I love, like, I thought this joke was like the funniest joke in the movie when I was a kid. When he's like, hey, would you fuck a sheep? And that's when he's like, what's your malfunction? He's like, no, you misunderstand me. If you were a sheep and you saw a sheep, would you want to fuck it? And he's like, oh, well then yeah. And then, Jay screams, yo, he's not one of us. He said he'd fuck a sheep. And they throw him out. What's funny about that is, like, why do you have to trick him into saying that if you're the only person that's going to hear him say it? Couldn't they just say out of nowhere, hey, this guy just said he would fuck a sheep and throw him out? Like, what? It's not being recorded. But still a pretty funny joke.
Very, very funny. Yes. I love Wes Craven's cameo in this movie.
Yes.
Which, Wes Craven showing up in a Scream parody, because this is a lot of Miramax Dimension stuff showing up here as well.
Yeah.
And does the twist that in this movie, Ghostface is an orangutan. And Shannon Doherty is here too, who is also, she was in Mallrats, so she's not making a return here as well. But it was wild to just see Wes Craven just show up randomly as, you know what, here I am. It's going to be Wes Craven in this movie for no reason.
Like, famously, the Ghostface license is separate from Scream, so they had to, like... Well, I guess I know it's under the Dimension umbrella, but there's still a rights thing. So anyway, they had to... I'm sure they paid money to use Ghostface just for that gag, I guess is what I'm getting at, which...
Dimension did Scream 3, which would have been 2000, so I don't know if maybe Dimension still had the rights at that point, or how that works.
Can you just... You still have
know.
to... if you're going to use that... They have to license it every time they use it.
The Ghostface mask has to be licensed, I think, every time, which is why the rumor was that the Scream television show changed it, was so that they didn't have to pay the likeness for the Ghostface mask, which is actually why there's actually a series of books about a ghost-faced killer that are like just about a killer that wears the Ghostface mask that are not related to Scream. But it's just because the owner of somebody licensed the mask and wrote at least a couple of books about just a killer that wears that mask. And so it's a wild thing. And it's just like a generic Halloween mask. Like you could buy it at any like Spirit Halloween in 98, 99, 2000, or the early to mid 90s. It wasn't a thing. And then they just used it in that movie. And now suddenly it's everywhere.
The video game Dead by Daylight, one of the DLCs, is Ghostface, but it's not a Scream DLC. It doesn't come with any of the Survivor characters from the movies, and it's their iconic mask, and like the black garb that he wears is slightly different because the only thing that's licensed is the mask. So it's just it's very weird.
They just did Ghostface in Fortnite, and I think it might be the same thing. I think it might be similar, where it's just the Ghostface costume that's been licensed,
so
not
weird.
Anything else. I can make him wear Jordans. That's pretty funny.
I
always loved the notion of, sorry, this is the dumb aside, but I've always loved the idea of potentially doing like a horror parody where the killer wears an easily identifiable piece of clothing that everyone just thinks is a misdirect, and turns out it's not. The killer's just dumb and wears his own shoes. the whole time. I would do that, and it would be very funny to me and probably nobody else.
Okay. Just sort of wrapping up here. I going back to my favorite part of Jay is how dumb he is. And some of just the small lines just really get me. I mentioned I'll give you half. Okay, I'll give you 2/3. No, you already said half. But at the very end, Shannon Elizabeth is going to prison, and she says, "Wait for me." He says, "What, here?" That's it's just
Yep, it
really
is.
dumb, really funny, really got me.
Very, very dumb, but got me.
The most gratuitous cameos, though, probably like the premiere of the movie, right? And like everyone's just flowing out of the theater, like everyone's ever been in a Kevin
anybody
Smith movie.
that's not shown up to this point shows up here. You've got Walt Flanagan and Brian Johnson playing Steve Dave, and I forget what his friend's name is. Walt's the guy's name, I forget. Scott Mosier shows up as Willem Black, even though he's already shown up as the Good Will Hunting 2 assistant director. Renee Humphrey shows up as Trisha Jones from Mallrats. Joey Lauren Adams as Alyssa Jones from Chasing Amy. Dwight Ewell as Hooper X from Chasing Amy. Anybody that's not shown up to this point, and then obviously Jason Lee reappears as Banky Edwards there. Everybody else gets fit in right there without any real missing of a note. So it's just the rest of the Rolodex all got pulled out at that point. And it was, very fun.
We had a nice little post-credits tag, or Alanis Morissette appears once more as God. Casting that I've always loved.
Did we mention Diedrich Bader is in this movie?
I don't think so, but that's another one that's like, I guess he's a supporting role, but to me it feels like cameo because I grew up loving the Drew Carey Show, and he's always going to be Oswald to me. But yeah, I love every time he shows up.
There's a whole generation that see him as Batman.
Where does he voice Batman? Because I know he voices Batman. Is that the one that's like for little kids? Batman the Brave and the Bold.
It's more. I don't know that I would say that it's for kids as much as it's still got like a very meta, self-aware thing to it.
Okay.
But it's definitely meant as like a pastiche of the Adam West type Batman. I mean, he only did it for 3 years, but he's come back and voiced Batman in a variety of things since then. I think he notably does it also in the Harley Quinn television show.
Oh yeah, okay.
And has done it a few other places too. But anyway, Diedrich Bader is always super funny, and I'm always happy to see him. So he shows up as a Miramax security guard who chases Jay and Silent Bob through the movie studio when they don't have a pass. That bit of them running through him and just going, "You don't have a pass!" Like that just lives in my head for some reason. I don't know why.
Last thing, I can't get out here without mentioning this because we set it up way back earlier this month.
Way back.
How much we love a fast food joint in the movies because they go over the top with the decor and the theme and the menu, and we are inside of a movies here, which we'll see much more of in Clerks 2. I know it's mentioned throughout the View Askewniverse. Have we been inside of movies before this movie, Andrew?
Dogma has a few scenes that are outside of a movies, I think, because movie as a concept is introduced in Dogma. That's like where you see it, because the boardroom that Loki and Bartleby shoot up is a movies corporate conference room.
Okay.
That's who they're going after, is the movie corporation. So outside of so there's scenes in Dogma that are outside of the restaurant where you like see the purple and the gold, and then this movie, that's one of the other trends from Dogma that carries into this one, is the movies restaurant, which eventually comes back, like you said, even more so in Clerks 2, and then I think has recurred steadily throughout it since. But I used to have one of those shirts,
the uniforms,
the pink and gold or the purple and gold movie shirts. Yeah, I used to have one of those because I'm a dork.
When you open the door, a cow moos. There's the MovieNet, which is a dedicated internet kiosk, which I never saw like in a fast food joint, but the idea of an internet kiosk, what is it, like a 4-year time period when that actually made sense? I mean, like, it looks so archaic now, the idea that you would need to go to a public space just to have a computer that accesses the internet, much less a fast food joint. I couldn't read it, but they have a specific term for like biggie sizing or upsizing your meal. It was had udders on it. I couldn't read what it said, but anyway, they went really hard with the theme. You know, big goofy hat. It's the movies, man. They can't resist.
Oh God, what was the name of that? Bovine size it.
Bovine.
That's what it
size
was.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
that might be
Yeah.
from Clerks too, but I remember that was the upsize was you did the bovine size.
Okay. Andrew, that is a wrap. A roll on Stoner Month. Is that a fun joint reference? How do
I'm going
drugs
to allow
work?
for it.
That's the end of another month,
How
Andrew.
do drugs work?
Uh,
It's like we just did Stoner Month. How do drugs work? Oh God.
I am excited for what is coming up next, both December and beyond. We've got a bit of a runway here. Not ready to share all the movies just yet, but some good stuff coming your way. Very, very busy season for a million and one ways. Again, apologies about some of these delays, but we're going to be cranking them out. And this next month, throughout the month of December, it's all going to be movies that you have demanded. We have your list. We have the movies you've asked for. We're going to shuffle them up and spit them out. As of right now, I don't know what we're covering next week. I don't know what we're covering next month. I got a list of potentials. We got to figure out how we're going to randomize this and start picking them. If you want to follow along or help influence that, you know what I'm going to say, right? Join the Discord. Hop on in there. There's a link in the show notes. Come and see what it's all about. Be the first one to hear about what we are covering in December, what you demanded that we cover. Andrew, it's going to be a heck of a thing. Heck of a month we have coming up here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a fucking thing.
Oh yeah, we can say that now. Still, got to see if get it all out of our system.
It's only 80% of my reviews on Letterboxd.
Heck of a fucking
3
thing.
stars.
Is that we right?
Yeah, I do a heck of a fudging thing. 3 stars.
I don't write. I use Letterboxd primarily as just a way to track movies I've watched, like how many I watched, the stats kind of thing. I don't particularly enjoy writing reviews. I don't use it as like the social aspect. There's some people I follow and I'll follow them back if someone happens to follow me. But yeah, I'm just there to track stuff. I rarely write a review. I think I might have 2 up. It's funny, you look at my rating spread, which is apparently a thing people look at on Letterboxd, and it's like either 1 star or 5 stars. Like the bar graph, those are the only 2 that have a thing. Because I guess if I feel really strongly about it one way or the other, then I'll bother writing a review.
I probably have a lot in the 2.5 to 3.5 range because that's where a lot of stuff that I see sits. Because I log almost everything that I see at some point in the theaters. I don't watch a lot of the stuff like I watch at home.
And you rate
probably
everything?
What I should be doing.
Like I log it.
I try to rate it. Yeah.
Okay.
I try to rate them. I just saw Running Man. I think I did that as 3 out of 5 because it's fine. Whereas the Arnold Running Man is 5 out of 5 because of course it is. But it's as good as Sinners. But
do you have a top 4?
I do.
Picked on your profile? You want to share them, Andrew? I didn't know this was a thing until very recently, so I put mine together.
You want to try and guess what they are?
Okay. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990.
No.
Not in the top 4. Okay, so you're... Okay. Maybe you went more prestige with it. Let me think here.
I wouldn't say I went more prestige with it.
Vertigo.
Yes, that is one of them.
Okay. As it should be. It's the greatest movie ever made. Not in my top 4. I mean, I love it, but okay, I got one of them. Batman 89?
No.
You've got to have something in there that's like fun. Like I know you're not gonna do Power Rangers, but like all right. Don't tell me yet. Okay, Vertigo. What else would you put in there? Seven Samurai.
No.
Is there an Akira Kurosawa in there?
No.
Wow.
Vertigo is the only like classic film in the top 4.
Okay. So the other ones are maybe more modern, but not Batman or Turtles. Okay.
I feel like one of these is really easy and you're not getting it.
Reservoir Dogs?
No.
Memento.
No.
God bless it, Andrew. Okay, hang on. One's really
you want decades?
easy. I'm not guessing it. Yeah, give me a decade.
So 2 are from the 80s.
Ghostbusters.
There you go.
Yeah, of course. Your
That
favorite
took long
movie.
enough.
Yeah. Okay. You have another one from the 80s?
I do.
Ooh. It's not Footloose, but it should be, Andrew.
It is the greatest movie ever made, yeah.
What about Terminator 2? I know that's 90s, but...
No.
Okay. So not Terminator 1, then, if you don't have 2 on there. RoboCop, I don't think you're... No. Predator, I don't think that...
It's not an action movie.
I don't know. I'm drowning here, Andrew.
It's another comedy from the 80s that I am a huge fan of.
Clue.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. All right. Yeah. You're
so
right.
Vertigo,
those two
Ghostbusters,
took way
and
too
Clue.
long for me to get.
Now the
what's the
fourth
last
one is from the 2000s, and it is an action comedy, and this is the one that'll probably surprise you.
2000s action comedy. The Nice Guys? It's not The Nice Guys, right?
No, it's not The Nice Guys. Should be, but it's not.
Action comedy, 2000s. I said The Nice Guys out loud. I was thinking...
the other guys. It's not that.
The other guys. Yeah. But The Nice Guys would have been a more serious guess, but you said this still not.
Yes.
I don't know. Hit me with it. What is it?
Hot Fuzz.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. Hot Fuzz above TMNT 90 and Batman 89.
Yeah, I guess.
Are you
picking 4 is just so...
I know.
So I was like, okay, I gotta pick one classic thing that like, and that was Vertigo, just because, especially like, man, the 4K of Vertigo. Like, I was at Costco today and I was looking at like the OLED 4K TVs, like the 77-inch, and I was just like, man, how good would Vertigo look on this? Like, I just was like, it would look so good. And then I was like, and Ghostbusters has to be there because Ghostbusters is like just a really important part of my childhood. But that should have been the twist. It should be Ghostbusters 16 that's in the top 4 and just be like, yeah, it's Ghostbusters. What are you talking about? But
Vertigo and Ghostbusters 16 on the same list just amuses me.
Clue, I just love. Clue is like the movie. It's like Clue, I think, occupies the spot that like TMNT 90, Batman 89, and Clue are kind of like all sitting in the same headspace of like, I can watch it anytime. It makes me feel comfortable. It makes me feel happy. It makes me feel reassured. And then with Hot Fuzz, I wanted something that was a little more like, all right, let's find something that's maybe a little off the path because for me, I love Hot Fuzz. I think it's the best movie that Edgar Wright's made. I think it's the best one that he's done because it doesn't follow into the pitfalls of some of his other things. And it's really funny. It's just super funny. But you said you just locked in your top 4, correct?
Correct. It was 3 for a while because I found this thing existed. I threw a few on there, and I was like, I just put S3, but it is 4 now. So
Memento?
what's on here? Yes.
Memento.
Just my go-to answer for favorite movie, and it's Memento.
Reservoir Dogs?
Yeah, even though those are kind of occupying the same space for me, I always say the 1A and 1B, but maybe I'll adjust this thing at some point. But yeah, Memento and Reservoir Dogs. You get 2 of them.
The Fall?
That could be on here. I don't have it on here. Maybe I should replace Reservoir Dogs with The Fall, actually.
So 2 more.
I might do that, yeah. You're gonna
Knight?
struggle. You're gonna struggle with these last two. No, not Dark Knight.
Nope. Nope. Batman Begins.
No. The
No
only
Batman?
the only Nolan is Memento.
No. Oh, interesting. Not the only Batman though. Interesting. Didn't say there
No,
was no
I didn't say
Batman,
that.
Just
I
said
didn't-
it wasn't.
No, there's no
Just said
Batman.
there
on
was.
here. Did I say
I
there's
was
no
no.
Batman?
You said no. I was joking. You said no Nolan, so I was going to be like, aha! But Batman's.
Oh,
still
no.
here.
No Batman on
okay.
here.
No Batman. Only Nolan is Memento. Okay. Memento, Reservoir Dogs, and it's not The Fall. TMNT 90.
Nope.
Interesting. Let me think. What do I know about you? Is there another Tarantino?
There is not. In fact, as we're talking, I'm gonna change Reservoir Dogs for The Fall because I feel like that. Fits
Well,
better.
I've guessed all three of those, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But so Memento, The Fall / Reservoir Dogs. The other two, you say I'm going to struggle with these.
You are. Once I say them or once I give you hints, you'll be like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." But I don't think you're gonna come up with them without hints. So let's say,
Give me. Let's start with a high level hint. What do we got here?
I actually happen to have the physical copy of one of them sitting next. It just happens to be sitting next to me because I was putting on my Plex earlier.
That doesn't help me at all.
There's 6 names or 6 actors named on the cover, which is a lot for a cover. I will read them to you from bottom to top.
Okay.
Ben Whishaw.
Hold up. Ben Whishaw, I know from Daniel Craig's James Bonds. Is it Paddington 2?
No, great movie though.
Is it Paddington?
No.
Is
No.
it Paddington in Peru?
And I'll tell you, Ben Whishaw, also in Cloud Atlas, which a movie I love, but has not made its way to this caliber yet. But
Okay. All
turns
right.
out Ben Whishaw
Next
was
name.
Okay, next name, Heath Ledger.
Oh, it's that Bob Dylan movie.
Yeah, I'm not there.
There it is.
Yep.
That Bob
Fantastic.
Dylan movie. Yep.
Fantastic
Yep.
movie.
All right. Okay.
A movie I really want to make you watch one day because I love this movie, but I love Bob Dylan and learned a lot about him growing up and in high school before I ever saw this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm so curious how well it works or if it works with. I'm just curious for a guy that's not super into Bob Dylan. If you're like, oh, I appreciate it
The
for what it
opposite.
did, or I was
The
lost.
opposite,
or-
some might say.
You actively don't like Bob Dylan?
No, I actively don't care about Bob Dylan.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Bob Dylan just means very little to me. Like I've
Sure.
never really resonated with his music and his it sings like this. No, I can't do it. But
All right,
anyway,
one more
fourth
movie on here, Andrew. This is the one
All
that
right.
took me a while to decide on, but once I
so
Well,
this
let me
is
know
the
you.
fourth one you locked in. This I have
Yeah.
not guessed what to this point. These were the original 3.
Yeah.
But ignoring the Reservoir for the Fall switch. So we've got a 4th movie that's a more recent addition. All right, I need something to go off of here. What we got?
This might narrow it down pretty fast, but I realized I didn't have any animated movies on here, and I love animation, and I felt it needed to be represented on my 4. So it's an animated film.
Wall-E?
No, that's your favorite animated movie, Andrew. But good place to start, I guess.
Let's see. Animated. Is that the right studio?
No, it is not.
It is not a Pixar movie. Interesting. And it's not Akira because you came to Akira too late and it didn't have the same impact on you. Which I completely understand. To be very clear, folks, there's no judgment there.
But Akira is much closer of a guess than Wall-E.
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell. Yeah, my favorite
is.
animated film. Something I've watched a million. It's like 88 minutes.
No Akira, no Ghost in the Shell. No, I'm kidding. I'm
Okay,
kidding.
all right, buddy.
Don't hit me in the face.
Yeah, those are my Netflix 4. Like I
Excellent
said,
picks.
I forgot.
You're letterboxed for.
Oh yeah, what am I
You
saying,
said
dude? It's
Netflix
late.
4.
I gotta go to sleep. I also
Folks,
I kept
it is
saying I
before
was going
9
to
p.m.
change Reservoir Dogs. I've been up since 4. I was going to change Reservoir Dogs to the fall, but I now cannot figure out how to edit this. I don't remember how to edit that. So
you probably have to do it on the web. I don't know.
I don't know. I'll get around to it, or I'll forget about it. I don't know. Go look at my letterbox, see if I remembered. All right. Next week we're covering a movie. I don't know what it is. Andrew, you don't know. As of right now, we haven't figured this thing out yet. If you want to be the first to know, hop into that Discord. We'll announce it there. It's going to be a movie that you demanded. Come back next week for that. And until then, just remember that maybe not every movie is great.
But all movies have greatness.
Thank you to Mark Benavides for singing our theme song. You can check him out on Instagram at NotThatMarkAnthony. Thanks to Mitch for the music. Follow him on Blue Sky and check our show notes for the SoundCloud link. Check out our store on TeePublic for some Best of the Rest merch. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. That's the only way that we grow. Follow us on social media at BOTRcast. Thank you. When they are told that nerds are insulting them online, determine.
Sorry?
Do you have an English? What is that? Alexa?
Google Home.
Google Home. Does Google Home have a name? Google Assistant.
Just take
I liked
Google.
it that way. They're trying to. You see that they're like forcing us to switch to Gemini at some point.
I hate it.
I know it makes you want.
Google, stop listening. And then walks away. Just obviously the endless gag they love to make that people keep telling Silent Bob not to talk. The other bit that I don't know if you mentioned it about this scene that I love is that Gus Van Sant, the director of Good Will Hunting, is in this scene too, playing himself, who is sitting in a chair just counting his money, and has no interest at all in what's happening on set. I love when they just look up.
Did
they're
you,
like, so
did you
act.
miss when I said that earlier? Or are you acknowledging that
Yes,
you're
I
repeating?
did.
Okay.
I'm acknowledging it. I missed when you said it. But
This exact same thing happened in the last episode, but the other
it
way
did.
around.
The other way around.
So
But
I'm
it's
just
happened
glad.
the other way around before. Yeah. So
Okay, this will be a sequel to the last post credits.
it will.
The last episode.